You've confessed 500 times in 500 different ways that you're done with lust. You think God is done with you because you've committed a sin. You think you are condemned. Well, here's what's actually happening and why you keep losing this battle.
Unfiltered with Matt Farnsworth.
Lust starts young in men. Guys, it's a hard one. This is one of the biggest ones clients come to me with. I cannot fight lust. What do I do? And every time I commit this sin, I feel like I'm utterly condemned. A lot of men, it started out early, right? We got the content that we shouldn't have, no matter how old we were, via a magazine. Now the internet, they're on our devices. It's everywhere. Now, I was not in Christ as a young man. I was not Christian. And now that I work with Christian men and I see the pain that they go through with their feelings of condemnation post-sin, I want to make it very clear that you are not condemned. The enemy loves this cycle. This cycle is special to the enemy. You're caught in a pattern of lies and deception by the world, by the enemy, telling you that you have committed something that is so terrible that you cannot be forgiven. And so many men come to me and say, God will never forgive me. I don't know what to do. And this causes them to what? Lose their confidence. They lose their manhood over this. They're emasculated. They feel weakened by the enemy. Therefore, they're less of a leader in their home. They can't lead their wife. They feel insecure. They no longer get aroused because they're feeling so shameful of what they've done, and they're hiding it. Now, after I got really connected and sober and started learning about Christ and understanding how this all works, I got to Romans and I started to understand you can fix this. You can break the cycle. And no, there is not condemnation for you because you commit a sin. We live in a fallen world. That has happened since the beginning in Genesis. Sin entered the world and it stayed. It never left. The law coming into play with Moses just gave us an understanding of what sin actually is, therefore shining a light on it and making it even harder for us to not sin because you know now what you're doing wrong. And this makes it difficult because none of us were ever going to be able to fulfill the law. The only person that could fulfill the law was not a person. It was God and man. It was Jesus, and he fulfilled that law, taking away our sin. That is what he did. Now, you are saved because of this. We can all agree we're going to sin. If you are in Christ, you are not condemned, even if you commit a sin. The enemy wants you to believe that lie because condemned men don't fight. He wants you numb. He wants you passive. He wants you thinking that you are in condemnation. You are in trouble. God no longer loves you. Christ has turned his back on you. That is his ultimate goal. So that's a pattern that you're in. So shame keeps you isolated. And isolation is where he wins. Now, you stand in grace, Romans 5:2. You stand in grace. That is your environment. No matter the sin that you do commit, you get back up, you brush yourself back off, and you stand back up like a man. Grace doesn't mean it's a license to sin. That's not what it means. It means that when you sin, grace immediately covers you. You are covered. You are not condemned. You must understand that in order to recover from this, because addiction can quickly cycle so fast. You jump right back into that cycle so easily if you don't stop yourself and realize that grace it abounds much more than sin. Where sin is, grace abounded all the more. You're not fighting for acceptance, you're fighting from acceptance. That's the beautiful thing about Christianity. It's the only religion that says, at first, you're accepted, now walk. Christ already paid for the sin, past, present, and future. The issue isn't condemnation, it's patterns. Look, the enemy's playbook is not new, it's old. He does not need chaos, he needs predictability. He needs you to continue to be predictable. He knows the timing, the triggers, your vulnerable window, late night, when you're stressed, when you're alone, when you've maybe just had success, when you're bored. Those are the times that the world tempts. That's the time that it knocks. And so what do we do about that? Because if the eye is the lamp of the body and what we view either strengthens us and brings light into our body and our being, or it darkens us and brings us to sin, which ultimately leads to death, what do? We have to stop that late night scroll. We have to stop that second look. We have to stop saying, it's not that bad. I'm bored. I need this. You need a quick dopamine hit to try to feel better. And by the time it feels like a problem, you made 15 small decisions to get to this spot that you're in right now. So conviction says, get up, you're forgiven, stop, now move differently. Condemnation says, stay down, you're worthless, God's done with you. Conviction pulls you toward God. Condemnation pushes you into hiding, isolation. That is where the enemy uses that condemnation to keep you stuck in that cycle. You don't beat these addictions with willpower. You beat it with structure. Yes, the Bible's important. My gosh, it's the most important book in the world. It is living and breathing and active and alive, and it is the sword that keeps you protected. It is your armor. It is your helmet of salvation. It is your breastplate of righteousness. But you must also know where you are weak in structure in this world. You have to pre-plan your attacks. You have to know when the attacks come. You have to start to recognize these patterns, know your vulnerable window, and lock it before the battle starts. When the impulse hits, you have to have some sort of exclamatory prayer. You need to be able to say to yourself, I'm in this pattern now. I can feel it coming on, whether that's in your body, in your mind, a thought you hear, a feeling that you have, it comes on. You know what I'm talking about. You don't negotiate. You don't rationalize it. You arrow prayer. You immediately say, God, help me, please, right now. Exclamatory, quick, fast. It's as fast as a breath. God is hearing you. Then move, physically move. Change the location that you're in. That is how you stop this to start. You need pattern interrupt happening right now in order to defeat this. I can't come to your house and do it for you and pick you up and turn off the TV, put down your phone. That's not something anybody's going to be able to do for you. But when you don't do it, you are letting the enemy win. So let's do these things. Let's stop believing in condemnation, that you are condemned because you committed these sins. Just know this, you're already loved, you're already forgiven, you're already his. You are not trying to earn your justification. You're walking in it. You are saved. You are moving through salvation right now. Romans 5:1 says, you have peace with God through Christ. He is your intermediary. He died for that reason, for you. If you're stuck in that cycle of lust, shame, never again, confidence, drifting from faith, I built something for you. It's a free 30-day challenge. Day 1 starts with facing that truth. Day 10 is locking in your vulnerable window. Day 13 is guarding your gates. Day 21 is exclamatory prayer. One mission at a time, one day at a time, simple and clear. This is not motivation that I'm giving you. It is structure. One thing I want to say before I sign off is the struggles, the tribulation, the trials that you're going through are meant to be. These are a good thing, the struggles that you go through. Because when you go through those struggles and you still have faith, and I know the men and the women that are messaging me that are saying, I am in Christ, I believe in Christ, but I have sinned, your faith is still there, even after you've sinned. Does that make sense? Now, if you overcome that, here's where the power happens. When you overcome that sin, when you fight it that next time and you don't do it, you have persevered. And what does perseverance create? It creates character. And as character builds, this genuine Christ-like character builds, it produces what? Hope. And what does hope say to us? Hope says, I will not put you to shame. That is the power right there. That is breaking the cycle. That was unfiltered. You're not condemned. You're understructured. And structure breaks shame. See you next time.